It already looks like water conservation will become a top issue in 2019. In an op-ed this week, Governor Doug Ducey said he wants next year's budget to include an additional $30 million to protect water levels in Lake Mead. Among the lawmakers considering that proposal, Republican Russell Bowers. Next year, he will take the helm as Speaker of the House. And for some time, he has helped shape water policy in Arizona. Vanessa Barchfield recently spoke to Bowers about the issue.
We would like to have and have to have a drought plan, a drought contingency plan for the state of Arizona that also works with the other states in the lower basin and upper basin. That plan will guide what we do in times of shortage, which we face now.
Forecasters say there's a nearly 60% chance that a shortage will be declared on Lake Mead in 2020. Since this summer, state water leaders have been negotiating a drought plan, under which Arizona would agree to take larger cuts of water when shortage is declared. In exchange, California, Nevada, and Mexico would also reduce their use of Colorado River water. The negotiation has been contentious, and state lawmakers will need to approve the plan.
As we've mentioned, certainty in water is a good thing, and uncertainty in water is not good for economics and families and just about anything.
Over the past year, Bowers and Republican State Senator Gail Griffin held a series of listening sessions on water topics around the state.
What were some of the things that you learned, or some major themes that kept coming up?
A problem theme is that people see water sources as local. This is our water in Cochise County. This is our water in Yuma. This is our water in Mojave. And we don't want you guys to take it. And we don't own water. We own the rights to use water.
Farmers in central Arizona stand to lose their water under the drought plan when a shortage is declared. The state has scrambled to find alternate sources to fill part of the void. But the long-term plan for Pinal County is for development. Cochise County also has a number of controversial developments in the works, and critics say there's just not enough water.
How should the state be balancing between growth and the need for water conservation?
Well, all growth should bring with it conservation practices. Sustainability is this overwhelming description that many times is lost because it's so tenuous. But water sustainability in a desert environment is critical. And we solicit and have seen big companies vastly improving their water usage. And we see it everywhere. And yet, on the other hand, we still demand for dust prevention that we run water on the dirt and watch it evaporate. And that blows my mind, you know. So the growth needs to be smart, wise, and have conservation as an ethic relative to water.
Will there be a point at which limited water resources do slow growth in the state?
Yeah, there will. Every biome has its holding capacity. And we have artificially extended the holding capacity of a desert. That's Salt River Project's function, was to make it possible for us to live here. We wouldn't without it. And ultimately, if we don't augment the supplies we have, yeah, it's very limiting. When we had the no growth initiatives, a decade ago plus, much of that was that we would all be red tile roofs all the way to here to California. And I said, oh no, we won't. There's not enough water. Water is the arbiter of growth.
Bauer says one of his priorities will be finding the funding and support for seawater desalination, which could provide a new source of water for Arizona. But desalination is an expensive and energy-intensive technology and comes with its own controversy. Desalination plants are often powered with fossil fuels, which emit greenhouse gases and contribute to climate change. And that only intensifies the threat against our main source of water, the Colorado River.
Scientists estimate that around 50% of the decline of the Colorado River is caused by climate change. Yet Arizona hasn't been introducing any comprehensive plan to reduce emissions. So I wanted to get your stance on climate change. I mean, do you believe in the science that says
I believe that
humans are
climates change. I believe that climate is changing. And it really doesn't matter in this context because the time frame for climate change isn't, well, I remember in this very chamber when we were talking about getting rid of the stuff that, the refrigerant, and I can't remember what it's called now, senior moment. But because it would say the ozone hole over the Antarctic was growing. Well, haven't heard a thing about it. We still have it. There's still an Antarctic, there's still lots of ice, but the planet is in fact experiencing climate change. And if it happens here more than it is now, we will have to adapt to it or move elsewhere.
A recent report from the UN shows that we have until 2040 to actually reverse some of these effects of climate change, and we can do so by reducing our emissions. Do lawmakers here in the state of Arizona, which is really in the thick of it in terms of climate change, do you see lawmakers having a responsibility to take some actions to reduce emissions?
In fact, the emissions are reducing, much of it because of the economics of travel, and most of the emissions come from automobiles still. Why? All of them reduce much, much less than they used to. We just buy more of them. So the offset that way, we could say, we're going to make sure that nobody has more than a two-seater car. It's the effects of climate change, if it's done by me, are going to be felt about 5 years from now. It's not immediate. It's not like a causal link between me and the butterflies in the Amazon. It's a time adapting challenge. And so making that pitch, it's all about what can be accomplished, what is the economic viability and capability of a people to adapt to the implications of lower emissions, whatever that means, because we have cranked down a lot on emissions.